Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Maleki Stayton, and you're locked on the DucksFocus Podcast, your podcast for all things Oregon sports. And guys, we're back with our episodes, trying to release at least one weekly. So I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. Last week was Cameron Wagner, and man, that kid was awesome. And this week, we have another standout player for the Oregon Ducks. I mean, this kid is so athletic. When I was looking at his report, right, because we always do this kind of research, I was like, dang, this kid not only is athletic, but he's so versatile. And actually, it's kind of a surprise, which you guys will hear later in the episode. He hasn't been playing football his whole life. So he's kind of new actually to the game, which is really unique and not something that you always see. So I'm really excited to ask him about some of these questions, but you're locked on the DucksFocus Podcast, and here we go.
Get ready, Ducks fans. You're about to dive into the DucksFocus Podcast, your ultimate source for all things Oregon Duck sports. From game-changing victories to exclusive insider insight, we're bringing the action straight to you. It's time for expert analysis, behind-the-scenes access, and everything you need to stay in the know about your favorite team. And now, the man who's always in the know, the one, the only, Maleki Stayton.
All right, Duck fans, like I said, we have a really special guest on today's episode because this kid, again, really standout player, but also has a really unique journey. So please give me a warm welcome in welcoming Achilles Reyna on the show. Achilles, thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
It's a blessing and an honor to have you on. And I was kind of just talking a little bit about your journey. And before we get really into that, I wanted to know what, kind of got you into football. What was kind of the drive for, I want to play this game. I want to get into this sport.
Yeah, honestly, I always wanted to play football. My dad played at Wazoo and he grew up playing football. So as a younger kid, I always wanted to be like my dad and did do what he did. So I always asked him to let me play football, but my dad got injured a lot, and my mom, she just never wanted me to get hurt. So they never allowed me to. And then I transferred from Eastside Catholic over to Rainier Beach. And in Washington, if you transfer to a school and if you played the varsity sport the year prior, you have to sit out 40% of that that sport. So I had to sit out 40% of the basketball season. So I was like, I'm super bored. Can you guys please just let me play football this one year just for fun? And so they finally agreed. And so originally it was just going to be for fun, as a hobby to do with my friends. And then, but I ended up kind of blowing up, especially my recruitment. And then now we're here.
Right. Well, and how did it feel, again, like you just kind of said, your recruitment really blew up kind of overnight. How did it feel to have your recruitment blow up in such a way? And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I'm a football guy now, right? How did that feel for you? What was that like?
It was honestly crazy because I've never experienced anything like that. Everyone I've talked to said that they've never seen something like this. So it was really great. I mean, I just got to create a lot of new relationships with different coaches, different players. So honestly, it was a really fun experience.
Right. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When I was doing your player research, when I was going through your 24/7 profile and everything, and it said that you had only played football, starting in the previous year, I was like, yeah, is this right? Did they make a typo on this? It was is that real? And so I had to fact check it. And I called one of my friends, Dawson, who also helps kind of with the show. And I was like, hey, I just want to make sure, I don't want to seem dumb, when I asked this question. He was like, no, this is a real thing. And I was like, that is so cool. So props to you on that.
Thank you.
Again, you kind of talked about that you didn't grow up like a football first athlete, but looking back now, how do you think basketball kind of helped shape you for playing football? I feel like this is,
I do love this question because I think it really translates over to the football aspect. Because me playing basketball my whole life, I've really mastered the footwork that comes with basketball. And I think especially on the edge, that really transfers over to the field. Because basically, I when people ask me this, I tell people I kind of just see when I'm on the field, I see it as an extended court, and the offensive tackle that's in front of me is basically my defender. Whoever has the ball is the hoop, and I'm using whatever footwork I can to get around them, but I get to use my hands as well. And I think, honestly, I've always been a lot more physical than other people. I've always been bigger than everybody. So whenever I was younger and I tried to, like play with my friends or my teammates, and like when they were roughhousing or something, they'd be like, whoa, Achilles, you're too big to be doing all this. So I'm like, okay, like, so I backed off. So on the football field, I loved it so much because I was able to be as physical as I can, which I can't do on the basketball court, but I can on the football field. So I think the footwork and the physicality really translates over to my experience from playing basketball and just goes right over to football. So I think that's really what helped.
Well, you could be physical in the basketball court, but you're going to get ejected. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, we kind of talked a little bit about like how your recruitment blew up, but what was like the telltale sign for you? Like, what was that key point where you were like, oh, like I can really do this in college. Like this is real. Like I'm going to get fully recruited. Like when was that kind of moment for you? Was there a moment, like a phone call for you? Like what was it for you that you're like, this is real?
Honestly, I think I want to say when I started, when I got an NIL agent, which my agent right now is Paul Wolf, so the former head coach of Wazoo, and he actually played with my dad in college at Wazoo, so we're close family friends in that way. And he was like, I've seen a lot of players, like but you specifically, like based on just the little experience you have, and like you can really do something with football. Like you can go all the way and be an all-time great player. And hearing that from a great college coach, and now he's getting into the more NIL business side of football. I mean, that is one thing that really kind of helped me click and think like, oh, I can really do something with this. But also it's every other coach that I talked to, they're like, you have so much potential, and we like a younger kid that hasn't been playing very long, honestly, because when I get to their program, they're not going to have to try and change any bad habits that I have. I can just go directly to their program, and then they can teach me how they want me to play.
Right. Well, speaking of all-time great coaches, I think Dan Lanning is one of those guys that has already really thrown his name in the hat. When Oregon offered you, what was it about Oregon that kind of stood up? Because again, you're not shy of D1 offers. You got a list. So what was it about Oregon that was like, okay, this school is kind of a standout. I think I might want to go here.
Yeah. Honestly, it was like, I've never really been a football kid, as you know, but I think one school that I always knew has always been great at football is Oregon. And even as a kid, when people will talk about Oregon, I'd always think about their football team because they're so good and so well known, and they're just like they produce NFL players. And also going to Rainier Beach, Josh Connerly, who went to Oregon, he's one of my close friends because he also went to Rainier Beach, went to Oregon, and so my first visit to Oregon, he called me and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Oregon too. Like, let's try and catch a game together." And I wanted to, but sadly I had to go. And so I have that connection from Beach and with Josh and Oregon. So everything just kind of seemed to align. I was like, I mean, it's clearly a sign from God. Like Oregon's the place.
Right. Well, that's awesome. Well, and Dan Lanning, he kind of built his career of being a defensive coach. Not kind of, he was a defensive coach. What is something though that Dan Lanning kind of told you, or even the defensive, crew for Oregon that told you during recruitment that kind of stuck with you? Is there anything that like advice or really anything that they said to you that you're like, this kind of stuck with me?
Honestly, it's not really anything that anybody said. It was more their actions, and a little bit of what they said. But I whenever I go on a visit, I tend to ask everybody the same question to see if I get a consistent response, because that really talks a lot about their culture. So at Oregon, when I asked, I got the same exact, the same answer from literally everybody, from the managers all the way to the players. So it was really consistent, and just how genuine every single coach is, and how they have nothing negative to say. It's all positive. Like it just, the environment and atmosphere just kind of felt, right.
Right. What do you think makes the Oregon atmosphere, and especially like the player to coach atmosphere, what do you think makes it so unique compared to even some of the other colleges you were recruited by?
I mean, you got to think about it. Like Eugene, like I've been there 3 times already. There's not a lot to do in Eugene,
Right.
and everywhere I go, basically in Oregon, whether it's in Portland or Eugene, I always like see something that has to do with the Ducks. Like it's whether that's like a license plate with the Ducks or somebody wearing a shirt or something. But that just speaks a lot of volume to how connected everyone is, especially to the University of Oregon.
Right. Well, and University of Oregon is so well known not only just for football, but for basketball and track and all of its different sports. And speaking of basketball, is there any hopes for you or plan that you may want to try to play on the U of O basketball team? Is there anything for you there, or are you going to just try to focus on football?
Yeah, for sure. I really want to be able to play both. And of course, when I play both and after my first, second year, I'm probably going to start leaning towards one sport or the other to focus on. But basketball's always been a big part of my life. It'll always be my first love. And, ultimately when I was younger, the goal was to go to the NBA. Of course, things have shifted now, but, I still want basketball to be a part of my life, especially in college. So playing college basketball also would be a dream come true, and also being able to play football. So I've talked to all my coaches, and they're like, my AAU coaches, my high school coach, and they're like, trust me, we're gonna because I've told them my focus right now is basically getting a scholarship for Oregon for basketball, and I've told them that. So they're doing all they can to put me in the position to get that, hopefully get that offer. But if I don't, I can always end up just walking on, because I'm already there. But I just always want basketball to be a part of my life.
Right. And have you had any conversations with the basketball team? Like, have you, I don't know, like while you've been here, on visit or anything, have you had any talks or anything like that? Or is it still kind of like you're just trying to work and get that offer?
I'm still just trying to work and get that offer. The times that I've been there, we've tried to set up meetings with the Oregon basketball, but they just haven't been at the facility. So
as it makes sense. Well, and being 6'8", I mean, a lot of people, obviously, I think there's a lot of advantages to it. Is there any like kind of disadvantages though for being 6'8" that people may not realize, especially in football?
Football, I think it's really just the pad level, because I'm so much taller. There's gonna be shorter offensive tackles that can probably get underneath me. But that's why I like to get into a lower stance, so that when I explode off the ball, I can. But an advantage is I have like a 7-foot wingspan, so I'm able to get that first contact, and so that's an advantage. But also, that pad level is a disadvantage.
Right. Well, and I mean, football is really one of those sports that like you're new to it and you're like learning all the different aspects of it, right? So like you're still relatively new, but also you can kind of pick up on it kind of quick.
Yeah.
For you, is there kind of a standout, like this is my current main strength and this is my main weakness? Just again, because like I know you're kind of new to the sport, you're still picking up on a lot of different things, but what would you say for you is like major strength, major weakness?
Major strength, I'd honestly probably say my speed, because I'm a lot more agile and faster than the tackles that are going to be guarding me, and so I think that's one of my biggest strengths. I think one of my weaknesses is probably just learning more moves, because I'm relatively new. I mean, trust me, I have a lot of moves in my bag, but just getting more comfortable with new moves so that I can apply them to game, because I haven't got a lot of reps with them yet.
Right. And is there something for like your, kind of senior season, like going in, like, is there something that you kind of want to prove, like not even just for outside people, but for yourself? Is there anything that you kind of want to prove?
Really just because it's my second year playing doesn't mean that I'm not going to be good and something to be, underestimated. Like for our scrimmages and our summer league games, like I'm already getting double teamed. So one of the things I want to do is I want to be able to dominate the double teams. And if it's a one-on-one, it's for sure I'm going to beat them. Like that's already been shown, like through the scrimmages we've had. Every time I have a one-on-one situation, I'm either at the quarterback, at the running back, or I'm past them. So it's, I think, really just focusing on beating those double teams and, dominating the line.
Right. And I mean, you've talked a lot about kind of development. You've talked a lot about your recruitment process, and we are kind of getting closer to the end. And I want to ask you for a funny story. Do you have a funny story from recruitment? I asked Cameron this question last week, and he talked about Dan Lanning sending him a photo of him eating Oreos at like midnight. Do you have a funny story for you from recruitment that you can share out with the people?
Are you talking about like just Oregon or just in general?
You know what? It could be in general. This is not a specialized question. It's up to you.
You know, I think the only really thing that I find funny, especially when I'm on any of my visits, is I go on all my visits with my parents, either my mom or my dad. My mom has been with me most of the time, and
Shout out, Mom.
she's not super into sports, so she's still trying to pick up on a lot of things, and so so for football, whenever we're having these conversations when my dad's with us, he's talking football, he knows everything about football. But when sometimes it's just me and my mom, sometimes she'll get confused, and I need to, pull her to the side, tell her what's going on. But I don't think there's really a super funny experience that I've had so far. So yeah.
So you didn't get the Dan Lanning Oreo photo.
I did not get
unfortunate.
I did not get an Oreo text messages. Sadly.
That is sad. This is a reoccurring question that I've done all 4 years. I can't believe I can say I've been doing this for 4 years, but all 4 years on this show, I've always asked this question to every single recruit. What for you is a fun hobby outside of football that you have that's kind of unique? I've heard being a barber, being a sneakerhead, riding horses, riding skateboard. Like, it's really up to you. What do you have that's a fun hobby that people might not really expect?
I love cars, so I go to a lot of car shows because I'm a big car guy, but also I love collecting cologne. Like, I have a cologne collection that one of my biggest fears is smelling bad. So I hate that. That's like my biggest nightmare. But I love cologne.
Right. What is your favorite cologne then? What are we giving a shout out to?
Mind Games French Defense. If you smelled that, But
If you know.
my girlfriend got it for me for my birthday, so I'm very grateful for her.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out, girlfriend.
Yep.
Well, I want to ask you because we got about 3 more questions here. We're going to do a rapid fire 60-second question after this section. But I want to know, fast forward 5 years, what would you want people to say about you, about your football career, and maybe even basketball? You can add it all in. Mm-hmm. But 5 years, what do you want people saying about you? Where do you want to be at?
I want them to say that on the field, I was violent. I was, ruthless. Like, I was a mean guy on the field, but off the field, I'm a really nice, genuine guy. And I love talking to people. I love creating relationships with people. So that, kind of a jerk on the field, but, I'm a little cupcake off the field.
A good cop, bad cop, but on the field. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Okay. I see it. I see the vision. All right. Rapid fire, 60 seconds. We're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, and we're just going to see what we got here. Okay. You ready for this? All right. All right. Favorite food?
I love all food, but right now I'd probably say seafood boil.
Seafood boil. Ooh. Favorite NBA player?
Probably have to say Kevin Durant.
Ooh, I'm going off script. Who's the GOAT NBA?
LeBron.
Ooh. Favorite NFL pass rusher?
Probably TJ Watt.
Ooh, okay. Favorite TV show?
Probably say I'm a big anime kid, so like right now, probably say Solo Leveling.
Okay, good choice. Favorite artist?
Probably say NBA YoungBoy.
Okay. Biggest trash talker on your team? Ooh.
Basketball or football?
Both.
Football, me. Basketball, Tyron Stokes.
Are you a morning person or night owl?
I'm a night owl.
Ooh, okay. Dream vacation?
Probably going back to Mexico or Vietnam.
Ooh, okay. And if you weren't playing football, what would you be doing? What would be the dream?
Focusing on going to the NBA.
There we go. All right. Well, that was your rapid fire 60 seconds questions. We might have gone over 60 seconds. I don't know because I didn't actually time that. But all right. To wrap things up, I want to know what's your message to Oregon fans, the Ducks Focus listeners, anybody out there about the next chapter of your career in your life as you continue to go into your senior season. What do you want them to know?
First off, I want to thank everybody that has made me feel welcome. And I want to give all glory to God for putting me in these positions. And, if once I'm at Oregon or if you just see me wherever, I want you guys to come and say hi because, like I said, I love talking to people. I love creating new relationships. So if you see me, say hi. And I love all you guys. And thank you for welcoming me to the Duck family.
Hey, go Ducks. Well, thank you, Achilles, for coming on. And hopefully, we'll be back here maybe interviewing you for basketball. Who knows? Maybe
For sure.
Get a little basketball interview. We'll switch it up. Or, I'm sure, after your senior season or maybe even beforehand, we'll get you back on here. We'll get them back on,
sure.
Guys. We're not shy with any of these guys. We'll bring them back on. We'll get an update, a part 2 of the show.
100%.
But until then, thank you so much for coming on. Again, it was a pleasure to have you on. And I think Duck fans are going to enjoy. What are your handles, though? Where can Duck fans find you at? What are your social medias for people that are listening on Spotify so they can be like, oh, let me go find this on Instagram?
My Instagram is just Achilles Reyna. And then my TikTok is Chiliman. And my Twitter is Reyna_Achilles.
All right, guys. We'll make sure to go show them some love. And until next time, Duck fans, as always, go Ducks.